Welcome in Tuesday edition, Blue Sky Live here with you today. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford Studio. The portal is open and damn near everybody will get in it. We will discuss a little bit of that this morning. Also, we've got a quarterback not playing in the bowl game. It's not Jackson Dart, though. He's going to play. You got Malik Murphy for Duke. He is getting into the transfer portal. Says he's not going to play in the bowl game. So, Ole Miss backup quarterback. I think the kid's thrown, one pass, Neal? Was that correct?
That's
correct.
correct.
1 for 7 yards, if I saw that correctly.
Yeah.
I'm trying to bait you already in the first 40 seconds of a podcast. As we're getting going this morning, Blue Sky locations all over the state of Mississippi, up and down I-55 throughout North Mississippi as well. They've got lunch specials, $5.69, couple sides bread, any size fountain drinks, Sweet Daddy's locations throughout Mississippi, ribs, pulled pork, side items, desserts, and more. Again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line. There's no hassle. There's no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around. Yeah, no, I'm not sure I can find it. I think I accidentally deleted it.
We'll deal with it later.
Yeah, shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. Guest join on the Campbell Clinic hotline from fractures and sports injuries to complex spine and limb conditions. The pediatric orthopedic physicians at Campbell Clinic in Oxford are the only specialized orthopedic team in North Mississippi providing expert care for growing bodies. Visit campbellclinicoxford.com to schedule an appointment or call 901-759-3111.
So we'll just put a little bit of a bow on it. Ole Miss to Gator Bowl, Duke, playoff, whatnot. Because I guess AJ and Siskey did McCready and Siskey yesterday. General thoughts as we close from something we've been talking about for months that we knew was going to be stupid, and it was stupid, and here we are.
General thoughts. I mean, look, if the objective, and this is the part that I don't know, right? I mean, we've now done a year of it. I still don't know what the objective was. This isn't meant as a criticism. If the objective was to get the 12 best teams, they got it wrong. If the objective was to have inclusion and make sure that they had proper representation, things of that nature, they probably got it right. So it just sort of depends on how you look at it. I mean, look, you can make the argument based on the way that they did the field. You can make the argument for SMU. I mean, SMU made the ACC title game. Mm-hmm. If Rhett Lashley's right, if they just said, hey, we all have COVID, we can't make it, they're in. So you can't punish them for losing on a last-second 56-yard field goal. Now, that being said, if you ask what would the Vegas line on SMU Alabama be, it'd be like Bama -8, 8.5. What would the Vegas line on Bama South Carolina be? Probably something similar. Bama Ole Miss. I mean,
same thing.
SMU Ole Miss, probably something similar. I mean, are those three teams better than SMU? Yeah, sure. Are they better than Indiana? I think so. But how do you compare the leagues? So, it's one of those things where, I mean, I think everybody can go, well, I would have done this. Yeah, okay, well, what is the criteria that was set in front of you? And then, as you pointed out, it's a giant word salad. And I'm not really criticizing the AD at Michigan, whose name Ward Manuel. I'm not really criticizing him because obviously they were tasked to do something. They put these parameters in place. And once they put the parameters in place, if they stuck with those parameters, they weren't going to be able to do all the other things that they were asked to do. There was no solution for them that checked every box. And so they had to go be selective with what boxes they checked. And then also, and this makes people mad, and I get why it makes you mad. I get it. We said all year, all summer, get to 10-2 in the SEC and you're in. And guess what? Been true. And it was true. The teams that got to 10-2 are in.
Yeah.
The teams that didn't, and there were 3 of them, they didn't, and they're not in.
There was a hard cap.
So in many ways, and listen, those teams, I mean, I can't speak to all of the teams. I can't speak to South Carolina. I can't speak to Alabama. I don't know what they were thinking internally. I do kind of know what Ole Miss was thinking internally because I've talked to people. They believed that 10-2 would get them in, and that anything short of 10-2 would leave them out. That was what they were operating under, that assumption, and it proved to be accurate. Now, was that fair? I don't know. I hate that word. I do. You know, you've known me for a long time. I don't like that word. It's a weird word. It's a hard word to really define what is fair, because fair is super subjective. You know, I mean, again, this is the part that makes people mad, and I understand why it makes them mad. They're tired of hearing it. I get it. But if we're evaluating it, when people say this about Ole Miss and about Alabama, when they say, let me make the argument for them being in, I can make an argument for Ole Miss being in. And then you say, okay, make the argument for them being out. I can do it with one word.
Kentucky.
They lost at home to Kentucky. And people go, well, Kentucky was different then. Okay, well, now we're getting into this area where we're just getting into spin zones. I mean, we're getting into, well, here's why this county went blue. Or, okay, but it did. It doesn't really matter what it is. And with Alabama, they had a 3-touchdown loss in November at Oklahoma that is disqualifying. It didn't pass the eye test. And so you have Carolina that had a couple of late wins, but they lost at home to Bama. They lost at home to Ole Miss in blowout fashion. And so I think from the committee standpoint, and you and I talked about this a little bit, just taking both ACC schools and not having to dive into that SEC morass where you can only take one of these three teams.
It was easier.
And I can't criticize them for taking the easy path when it is a sport full of easy paths right now.
Yeah, let's a couple things here, because and I mentioned a little bit of this in the podcast that was technically yesterday's show, but I did it on Sunday evening. Is to Ward Manuel's credit, the one thing that he is right about is that they didn't create this dumbass bracket. They were just told rank 25 teams.
Yes.
So when he keeps getting bracket questions, he's completely in his purview and correct to go, that's not my business. You told me to rank teams.
Yes.
You didn't tell me how the hell to put them in the bracket. I didn't do that.
Right.
That's on Tony whatever and Kevin Warren and Greg Sankey. That's on them.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
Yeah.
So he's completely correct there. The two things that annoy me actually are more ESPN-based than committee or Ward Manuel-based, and I mentioned this again on Sunday evening, and we'll do it quick and we'll move on, is one, I hate the shots of them sitting in the banquet room watching the TV, because you don't do that the entire year, but suddenly you got to sit and watch conference championship games that you've admitted don't mean shit. And yet it's TV crap is what it is.
It's confusing.
They have no notepads. The chairs are uncomfortable. They're set up for that quick shot when the cameras go, oh, they're locked in. They're really focused on Arizona State here. It's like, no, the winner's getting in and going in this spot. They don't need to focus on that. Yet in week 11, when you could have analyzed two teams, you just watched them wherever the hell you did it and got your reports and did it from there. It's stupid.
Yeah.
And because of the TV thing, Dan Wetzel, really good call. I mentioned it on Sunday. The weekly rankings put them at such a disadvantage because they put teams in a spot. Then those teams don't play and they can't move them.
Mm-hmm.
So once they had put Tennessee here behind Ohio State, they couldn't move them because neither team played. And then once they had put SMU ahead of Alabama prior to the conference championship, because here's the catch on that. If you knew you just wanted Alabama in, you just move them one spot instead of SMU 2 weeks ago and leave them there. And thus, when you go, well, we didn't really benefit them. Because if they win, they're in anyway. So when they lose, you go, well, they lost, and we just didn't move them.
Well, and they do this thing, right? And we all fall for it. I mean, I get why they do it. This is not a criticism. It's really not. It's going to come across as a criticism because I'm going to use an adjective that immediately implies criticism. They do this stupid Tuesday show every November, every week in November. They literally did one the night of the election. So November the 5th. There's a whole month of football left.
Yeah.
There's a whole month of football left, and they do this show that establishes rankings.
Mm-hmm.
And we all take the bait. We all take the bait like the little puppies that we are.
Bah.
I mean, let's talk about it for 2 hours tomorrow on the show. And everybody does it. I mean, instantaneous podcast and evaluations. I did a live show along with one of them. I get it. Hey, y'all win. But it paints the committee into a corner. Okay, well, now I've got, going to use teams that aren't in it for the mix of it, okay? I've got Kansas at 6. Kansas has an off date. Well, I can maybe move them to 7 or maybe to 5, but I got to leave them. I can't reevaluate and go, no, wait a minute. What are we doing? Instead of just waiting till the end and seeding a bracket. But that takes out all the TV, and it takes out all the discussion, and they benefit from this because what it does, and I mean this sincerely, and this is kind of strategic on their part, and I think it's genius. It takes the month of the season when, frankly, it's really getting bad. The agents are involved. You have these street agents that are getting involved that are calling these kids. They're calling around and going, if Chase Parham, the linebacker at Kansas, gets in the portal, what would you pay him? Mm-hmm. And someone goes, $200,000. Okay, I'm going to call another school. And then before you know it, now these street agents are calling you, the linebacker at Kansas, and going, hey, if you get in the portal, you can get $300,000. That's what's happening behind the scenes. That's not getting reported, though, because what we're talking about in the last month is rankings and conference stuff. And so it covers up a lot of the dirty, gross part of the sport.
Focuses it back on the sport.
And we focus on the sport. And we talk about the sport, and the games are big. And, oh, my God, this is a play-in game, and this is a playoff game, and all of those things. You know, the big upset Saturday when Florida beats Ole Miss and A&M loses at Auburn and Alabama loses at Oklahoma, and it's Shakedown Saturday or whatever, and it works. It works. I mean, they're getting massive ratings. The stadiums are packed. So it's working. It's baffling in some ways that it works as well as it does, but it works. And so at the end of it, they go, why would we change this? I had some people asking me on Sunday, don't you think this is going to result in a lot of change? And my answer, I think, bothered them a little bit. It was, why? Why should it lead to change? If your objective is to get big ratings and big money and lots of attention, why in the world would you change? This worked.
Yeah, I'm sure.
What would you change? So maybe you go to 16 teams, or maybe you change but this worked. This led to this fiery debate, and around the country, everybody hates the SEC except for the SEC. And so around the country, Alabama,
they're glad SMU's in.
Alabama not getting in was the U.S. beating the Soviets back in '80. It was Darth Vader losing to Luke Skywalker. I mean, this was awesome. Now,
Who knew SMU would end up being the David in the situation from back in the day?
Yeah, I mean, now what does it look like when the playoff games get played and there's not much SEC representation? Do the ratings go down? I don't know. I mean, that hasn't happened yet. We'll see.
Yeah, if there's a reason to change, Austin, who's it? Why would you change? Because Alabama Penn State would draw more viewers, and you're obsessed with viewers.
Yeah.
That would be your argument. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so in fairness to them, the knock has always been, you guys will do anything for the money and the eyeballs. Well, if that were the case, Alabama's in the playoff because they could have sent Alabama to Penn State, and guys, that would have been a monumental ratings game.
Did you see the thing on the board this morning? Penn State apparently not giving enough student tickets out so they can sell the rest of them higher prices.
Man,
are we shocked here in any way, guys? Are we blown over with a feather?
I had to push myself away from the laptop because I wanted to go, well, yeah. What'd you expect?
They restricted student tickets.
I mean, they were going to do that had Ole Miss been in. That was going to be a big story here. Is they were going to take that student section and divide it in half.
Because you can sell those for whatever the hell you're selling them for.
Sure. Give them to students. Because the game's not even about the students anymore. I mean, I think we've acknowledged that. You need the students until you don't need the students. And come playoffs, you don't need students. I mean, the Super Bowl is not. It's what feels completely different than all the other games.
It doesn't have home.
It doesn't have season ticket holders. It's corporate. You don't think the playoffs are going to be corporate? They're going to be real corporate. But maybe it works. Maybe Indiana, Notre Dame produces this monumental number that everybody goes, see?
I'm seeing UCL. Carson Beck out. is
Yes.
the most likelihood that he's not
Yes.
playing at all.
He's out probably 8 weeks is what I've heard.
Oh, really?
You know, look, they avoided having a big controversy there. I mean, if Georgia loses an overtime football game and Carson Beck's out, do they take Georgia out and just slip Alabama in? Maybe. And now you're punishing Georgia, who played easily the hardest schedule in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but look, Saturday was weird. I mean, Kirby Smart right there with Greg Sankey, to his credit, right there at his left, takes a shot at him. The league's not happy.
And I completely get what Kirby did. On the other side, he's not going to come celebrate the fact that he has all those at home next year. He only talks about the negative.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know,
he's mad about Texas is what it is. It's like this big brand came in here and y'all completely kowtowed to them the entire damn time.
It's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair.
You didn't just go put a media day in Dallas. You're also giving them this damn schedule, frankly, 2 years in a row now.
Yeah.
Because you have it next year as well.
It's more than fair.
That's
Yeah.
part of it.
Again, I don't have a problem with it. And I think it also is reflective of the league is kind of frustrated right now. The league got 3 teams. I can remember in Dallas in July when we talked about this incessantly.
3 versus 5.
And we'll talk about it again in July. And was it Atlanta this year? We'll do the same thing. And it'll be how many get in? 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, I was one of the people that thought there's no way they don't get 5. If you'd stepped down in July and the football gods had dropped in and said, now they're going to get 3, I'd have been like, wow. I mean, that would have been a wow moment. And look, I don't know when the next meetings are. I'm sure they're before Destin, but the next meetings are not going to be a happy, friendly place.
I get I'm doing the alternate reality thing. The only big difference here, though, is that had 2 games changed, Alabama doesn't lay that egg and Ole Miss doesn't lay one of their several eggs.
Yeah.
They get 5 in.
Yeah.
Like it was right there.
Well, I mean, and that's probably what Greg Sankey will say. And look, he's got a point. It's why last week when Lane was politicking, in some ways, I think he would acknowledge
he was just doing his job.
He was doing his job, campaigning for his team. That's part of his gig. But look, there's no way around the fact that you just simply don't have to change anything about Florida or LSU. Just don't lose at home to a team that went 1-7 in the league, and you're in the playoff today. Probably roughly where Tennessee is right now. Maybe hosting. I mean, Tennessee's.
I think you would have been hosting because you were consistently above Tennessee.
Yeah,
throughout the process.
Yeah, so you probably would be hosting right now. You'd be the 7 or the 8.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be hosting a playoff game in Oxford in 11 days, 10 to 11 days, and everybody would be thrilled. But you lost to Kentucky at home, and that's where when Lane was making the argument last week,
it went counter to his
where he probably had he been able to take the emotion out of it, had he said, I'm really talking about the future. I realized that we lost at home, but he didn't want to do that before the committee did its thing, just in case. And I get it, but it's what kind of hollowed that argument a little bit.
It wasn't the late November loss. It was the home September loss.
Well, and it wasn't even a loss in Lexington. It was a loss at home. You lost at home. South Carolina lost 2 home games.
Yeah.
I mean, and then Bama's argument really falls flat because, I mean, my God, not only did you lose at Vanderbilt, but when you knew the playoffs were hanging in the balance, you went and got skull-drugged.
You didn't just lose.
Against the Oklahoma team that went 6-6.
Yeah. And was awful offensively.
I mean, now to Lane's credit, if SMU had to play Alabama's schedule, they wouldn't be in the playoffs today. If Indiana had to play Alabama's schedule, they wouldn't be in the playoffs today.
No.
But they don't have to play Alabama's schedule, and I don't feel comfortable going, hey, Ward Manuel, you're an idiot because you didn't project SMU into Alabama's schedule. Because if he did that, he might go, okay, well, what if I put Ole Miss into Georgia's schedule?
Yeah.
What does Ole Miss do if they have to play Georgia's schedule?
Mm-hmm.
Do they go 8-4 or do they go 11-1? Gosh, I don't know. Do we take these games and put them in simulators and let the simulators determine who gets in? Not the actual games, but the simulators? What do you do? And so I don't know. I thought some of the over-the-top criticism of the committee was
over the top,
silly.
Yeah.
but I thought there was some legitimate criticism, not really of the committee, but of the process and of this process that it's now feels like, did you kind of rush into this? Because I'm like, they did this deal. There was a big story in The Athletic. I've referenced it 2 or 3 times on the show about
The 4 people.
the 4 people, and they did it in secret for 18 months, and it's incredible. Okay, well, maybe you shouldn't have been so secretive. Maybe you should have been out loud. Hey, this is what we're going to do. What do you think about this?
Yeah, couple things there. First, Eric, thanks for the super chat. Says this has been the most entertaining college football season ever. Parody and drama every weekend. Meaningful games that weren't before is an argument. Drew, thanks. Yes, I think the Ole Miss has a chance is officially dead. But we appreciate super chat there with you. Well, here's the thing too, and then we're going to break. We'll come back. I got a couple other topics. It is worth noting, and this is kind of a defense of the committee. Sankey and all their plans, this bracket was put in place when there was a legitimate Power 5. And then you tried to shoehorn this new world into a bracket that was set up for a completely different scenario and system. Instead of pausing and going, hey, that no longer is the case. How do you redo the bracket or do whatever you need to do to fix it? You just said, well, we'll just make it what it is. And that was automatically going to bring chaos at that point. So, all right, you've had Wendy's nugs dipped in sauce, but you've had them covered in sauce. Wendy's new saucy nugs, take the crispy and spicy nugs you love and turn them up to 11. Choose between flavors like buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm. If you're a real heat seeker, try spicy ghost pepper. Only on Wendy's signature spicy nugs. I dare you. 7 delicious ways to try the nugs you already love. Pick a flavor, grab some napkins, prepare to nug like you never nugged before. For a whole new way to nug, it's got to be Wendy's. A participating U.S. Wendy's.
I sent you that file. I found it.
Okay, got it.
I don't know whether it actually still exists because I think it's been deleted off the actual computer.
Okay.
We're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, but the same great people, products, and services. If you live in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, South Haven, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call Southern 662-429-4429. I have one final post-game column for you from Jacksonville in early January. That'll be brought to you by our friends at Window Hero. From window cleaning to pressure washing, gutter cleaning, gutter guards, and everything in between, Window Hero has the experience, expertise, and equipment to make your property look and feel brand new. If you're in North Mississippi, let Window Hero make your home or business's exterior look amazing. Their experts are fully bonded and insured. They provide specialized equipment, exclusive cleaning solutions, a satisfaction guarantee, and more. Get in touch with Roby and Susan Allen, 662-510-7077 or windowhero.com. We're also brought to you by Andrew Sego Wealth Management. Are you retiring soon? How long should you wait to take Social Security? What accounts should you pull from first? Are you already retired? Should you consider Roth conversions? These are just some of the questions that can only be answered with a personalized retirement income plan. Andrew Sego Wealth Management, specializes in helping folks just like you come up with their retirement game plan. Whether you meet at his office in Collierville or prefer Zoom from anywhere, schedule a free discovery meeting, see what they can do for you. It's rebelsretire.com. We're also brought to you by Grenada Home Center. They've got paints by Benjamin Moore, Pittsburgh Paints, Farrell Calhoun, flooring of any and all types, stone countertops, whether you're looking for granite, quartz, or anything else, window treatments from plantation shutters to whatever else suits your fancy. It's Grenada Home Center, 1301 Sunset Drive, Suite H in Grenada. You can also call them at 662-226-3127. Christmas Eve, 2 weeks from today, so you might want to get that shopping done. Arnett's Fine Jewelry is a fourth-generation jeweler located in the old Lamons Jewelry Building on North Lamar Avenue in Oxford. They offer expert jewelry repair, diamond engagement rings, wedding bands, stackable diamonds, genuine stone bands, pearls, genuine color stones, diamond jewelry, and more. Arnett's offers super gifts for many occasions, such as birthdays, graduation, anniversary, and, of course, Christmas. Arnett's wants to be your jeweler. We're also brought to you by the College Corner. They're in Oxford, just off of Sisk Avenue in the Oxford Commons. More than 4,000 square feet of the best Rebel gear, plenty of parking available. The staff's going to have you in and out, done with your Christmas shopping in no time. Also have 2 locations in the Oxford area, and you can shop online, of course, collegecornerstore.com.
The Declaration of Independence Center for the Study of American Freedom is located on the Ole Miss campus and aims to explore and examine the fundamental and founding principles of the United States of America. It offers an academic minor in freedom studies, scholarship opportunities for Ole Miss students that bring on lots of networking potential. To learn more, contact Stephen Scoltetti at freedom@olemiss.edu or visit independence.olemiss.edu. From a opt-in, opt-out standpoint, been pretty quiet for Ole Miss from an out situation. We do not expect Micah Pettis to play in a bowl game or play in another game for Ole Miss during his career. Expect a transfer there. Jackson Dart has announced he's going to play. Trey Amos, kind of surprisingly, I was shocked by that, says he is going to play in the bowl game. Trey Washington says he's going to play in the bowl game.
I would have been shocked if he hadn't played.
Yeah.
Amos, I was kind of shocked that he did play.
Mm-hmm. And again, we talked about this a little last week. Different players have different contracts when it comes to what their financial situations are. Some have completely clean opt-outs for the bowl game that if it's not a playoff game, they could peace out and have no penalty. And, your Walter Nolans of the world, who we all know the score. Again, though, I'm going to take a quick thing. Walter Nolan did show up 12 times. Like, there was all these questions about what his motor was going to be. He had a motor every game.
Yeah.
That dude played hurt. He showed.
He did. Princely did. Paul did. Trey Amos did. Just about. Really, it's hard for me to say that anybody didn't show.
Yeah.
There were people that disappointed.
Yeah, but those guys met expectations or exceeded expectations.
Yeah. I don't know what his internal grade is or what he thinks, or maybe he just wants to play. I don't know. I was a little surprised.
Amos.
Yeah, because there's talk about Trey Amos having a first-round draft grade. God, you're going to go play on January the 2nd?
Some dudes just mentally aren't, they don't even think that way. It's just game play.
There's a guy on the roster who got hurt on January the 1st and missed the whole season. So, that's and I kind of wonder if that's, hey, I'm going to go play for a few series and then
I'm going to go.
I'm going to be part of the team. Who knows? Whatever.
Maybe there's a really cool bowl gift. Remember back when we used to do all the bowl gift stuff? We used to go, hey, Fossil Watch, sign ball, gift bag.
They are staying out at Sawgrass.
Are they?
Yeah, that's where the team stays.
Is it?
Yeah. It's like 20-something miles from.
Okay.
I haven't seen anything about media hotels and stuff. I suspect it's one of those deals where media's on their own.
Is the Citrus that used to do the Disney trip and the Best Buy gift cards, if I have that correct? And they do like a shopping spree at Best Buy back in the day?
I don't remember that part. I do remember they would go to all the
parks. Okay.
I've done that. I've covered that bowl several times.
Yeah.
A week in Orlando.
Orlando's not a garden spot.
It's not my favorite place.
No. It's not. Disney and Orlando are two different things.
Well, and I always laugh at media that are like, oh, cool, we're going to Orlando, we're going to Disney. It's like, well, you're
not going to go spend 4 days at Disney there, bud.
You're really not. You might get a couple of nights where you can run over to Epcot or something. But you're not going to be hanging out at Disney all day because there's going to be media stuff during the day. Every day.
Grind says Haynes King is in the portal. He's about to make a lot of money.
Who's not in the portal?
It's fair.
This is the part. There's got to be. Drew asked if there's any. Do I think the Gator media? No.
It is not the Peach Bowl in terms of perks.
No, I suspect that I will have to find a place to stay, and I'll contemplate driving so that I'll have my own vehicle, so I don't have to Uber everywhere. I'm not a big Jacksonville fan. It's not my favorite place. But it's fine. No, it won't be like Atlanta where it's so God. The Peach Bowl's amazing. They make your life
Peach, Cotton, Fiesta. Those are the
make
three.
Your life easy.
And then Rose is probably good. I have no idea. Never
covered it. I'm sure they do a good job. Yeah, I don't like. This is the thing. I'm not even going on a rant here.
I have go ahead, and then I have a question.
Isn't there a better timing way to do this? It's December. I don't know if you saw Kenny Dillingham.
Did you see where? And I know it was my biggest issue on Sunday. I'm getting to your point. It was my biggest issue on Sunday was the talking heads who celebrated everything the community did. And I'm like, you're just so sheepish at this point. You'll say yes to anything to protect your
So with the
thing.
college football talking
Yes,
heads?
the media people.
Right.
Same thing happened yesterday. Everybody's going, oh my God, look how awesome Arizona State's handling this. And it's like, okay, sure, but you're missing the forest for all the damn trees.
100%.
What the hell are you doing? Like,
I mean,
he literally said, go ahead and go now because we just
think about it. They're a great example.
Arizona in the playoffs.
Arizona State. They were in the absolute abyss of college football not that long ago. He's done a great job.
Yes. Young guy, going to make a fortune.
Wants to be there. Whether he actually will stay there or not remains to be seen. I'm not going to fault him if he leaves. I'm not faulting anybody who leaves for anything anymore. It is what it is. But here he is. His team just won the Big 12. They're going to play in one of the national quarterfinal games. I'm sure it's already been determined. I just haven't looked at it. Where Arizona State plays, right? They play January the 1st.
Actually, they're in the they're not playing in the Fiesta, but whatever. Yeah,
okay.
But yes, they do have a quarterfinal game on the 1st.
It's set in stone. They're going to play in a national quarterfinal. Biggest game in that program's history since a long time.
Peach Bowl.
Okay, they're going to play in Atlanta in the Peach Bowl. Huge, huge deal for them. And he's having to tell his guys, because his guys are all getting contacted, look, if you need to go ahead and get in the portal, do it. Look, if you need to take visits, do it. We're going to play this national quarterfinal game where if we win, we advance to the national semifinals.
Mm-hmm.
And we're on a roll right now, Arizona State. If we win, we're one game away from playing for a national title, and I've got to...
You play Oregon in the Cotton Bowl.
I got to let everybody go take visits.
Assuming Oregon wins.
Yeah. I got to let everybody go take visits. I got guys that are going to go take visits. That I need to keep playing for me. I've got guys that are coming to me going, hey, coach, someone's offering me X. I need to get in the portal. Is that okay? Yeah, you do what you got to do. Now, I mean, look, be clear, I'm all for everybody getting what everybody can get. That's fine. I'm a capitalist. I'm not going to pretend to not be a capitalist. If you can go make a ton of money, go make a ton of money. But from a timing standpoint, this is broken. This is broken. This is where I go back into the same thing I've always said. If we did this in pro sports, and before you get mad at me, Lane Kiffin says this all the time. So you got to get mad at Lane too. We're in December. Can you imagine if right now they opened up the NFL free agency today? And where it didn't matter whether your contract was up or not, you just got to go. And if you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneer right now and you're like, yeah, but I think I can get more money in Vegas, you just go. Maybe you keep practicing with the Bucs, but you go ahead and work out that contract with Vegas. Can you imagine? Because what would happen is, and this is where I think, to me, it's just craziness. And I admit this out loud, that I am a bit of a unicorn in the college media deal. I don't have like this emotional attachment to a school, and so I don't
or really the sport. I mean,
the
it's
sport
not
really.
School always.
Yeah, I just kind of look at it and go, wow. I'm not one of these people that goes, college football, man, it's the greatest. I'm going to watch it the moment game day comes on until the final game in the West Coast ends. I'm not that guy. I've never really been that guy. And so I don't view it that way. But I think if you did this in another sport, in a professional sport, if in the middle of August, we'll do it right, in September, in late September, opened up the baseball free agency window. You can declare for free agency. Oh, and by the way, even it doesn't matter if you have 6 years on your contract left. You can declare for free agency. And all of a sudden, Ronald Acuna Jr. is with the Braves, and they're a game and a half back of Philly on September the 20th. But he's also working on a contract with the Mets and the Dodgers and the Phillies. They're working on a deal with the Phillies, the same team that he's playing against. There's a world where Malik Murphy is basically signed. Just hear me out. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I don't think Ole Miss is adding Malik Murphy.
But it would be completely legal.
But there is completely a world where Malik Murphy is signed with Ole Miss and standing on the Duke sideline
during the Gator Bowl.
That's not normal.
No, I mean, it's a completely apples to apples thing what's the ace for the Tigers that carried him into the postseason? Whatever the hell his name is.
Tariq Skubal.
Yeah, he could have been doing a contract with the freaking Guardians or the Yankees during the playoffs.
Yes.
While pitching for the Tigers against said team.
And if that were the case, the same media that right now goes, this is amazing, it's so would go, this is ridiculous. This is asinine. I mean, there's got to be a better way to do this. And then I'll say the obvious. I was talking in a different sport. I was talking to a parent the other day who plays a different sport.
Mm-hmm.
And the school is urging one of this player's teammates to change majors because they need her to get into something easier. In football, you've got these kids now that are going to play for 3, 4 schools. Are they even on an academic degree, Progress? Are they on an academic
I don't know
track?
how they are if they are.
I mean, because if you told me that, hey, there's a kid down the street who's in engineering and he started at Purdue and then he went to Michigan, and I'd be like, well, did all the stuff, how did that work? If you told me that, I'd say, oh, well, they're not happy. This is problematic.
Because you're not even staying in the same type of school. It's not like you go from State to Auburn to Oklahoma State where you're staying in the ag base. I'm just making something up. But
yes.
Oh, speaking of that, did you see who did get into the portal again? One of the longest tenured quarterbacks in college football. Did you see this?
No, I don't know that I did.
Signed with LSU in 2020.
Oh, Finley. I did see
TJ
this.
Finley.
Yeah, I did see
in
this.
the portal again.
I mean, good for him. But I mean, like, look, in our thread right now, and I'm not picking on you, Chandler, at all. Someone says Princewell, Amon Mielen visiting tomorrow, Luke Kaz visiting Friday.
Yeah.
That's everybody's like, oh, and it's one of the reasons that
when the system works for you, you celebrate said system.
I think if I were a national voice right now, I would be getting a lot more attention. I don't mean attention in a good way. I think people would be attacking me. But because I cover Ole Miss as my primary beat, I think people just go, I don't really care. It's working here. And I get it. I understand that. I look at this and go, I don't know how you don't get a fan checkout on this. Because I look at it from, if this were pro sports, if this were the Grizzlies, and at the end of every season, the whole damn roster could just leave and go to a different market, I think FedEx Forum would be, I think you'd be able to hear echoes in the place. There'd be nobody there.
Yes, Danny Jansen played for 2 teams in the same game in Major League Baseball. That did happen.
Yeah.
That is correct.
But
that was a loophole.
But that was a trade, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, couple things on that, because I saw it was mentioned, maybe it was Alan, somebody in the stream mentioned that NBA at one point tried to force trades, tanked, had some issues with that, whatever. And the NBA has become a bit of a soap opera league, if you will, putting super teams together, guys moving around, a lot of off-court dynamics that bleed into it in some ways, probably as much as anything from and I don't mean as a negative, I actually mean as a positive in a way to get eyeballs. As much as anything, kind of become a professional wrestling type environment for as much as an American pro sports league can.
Yeah.
In some capacities. Is that in some ways, I get it's not nearly apples to apples, but in some ways, is that not what we're seeing here is just a version of professional wrestling? Everybody moves around and it's just entertainment no matter what it looks like. Yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying it's good or bad. Yeah, I'm just saying it's completely different.
I guess the argument
than anything.
The argument would be at least in the NBA, you have structure.
Oh, sure.
I mean, Luka Doncic has a deal, like the deal that Juan Soto signed the other day. It's done. It's an incredible amount of money. But if Juan Soto, I was having this conversation with Jeffrey yesterday. If Juan Soto has a week where the Mets play the Cubs and the Cardinals, okay, has a little swing through the Midwest, and he hits 8 homers in 6 games, drives in 23 runs, he doesn't get to go to the ownership of the Mets and go, hey, let's rework this thing. I think I can make more. No, it's done. That's the deal. On the flip side, if he's a bust, he's not going to be a bust, but if his body breaks down, and if in 6 years he's one of these people that in their early 30s, their body just breaks down. He has a back injury, some chronic knee thing that pops up, and he's kind of a mediocre player. No, that's his contract. That's his deal. college is just insanity. But again, the argument that someone would make if I said that on a national thing is, but it's working, and I would go, you're right. I lose. You're right. I'm baffled by it. I have been baffled by it to the point that, and you know this, to the point that it's created me doing like some soul searching a little bit. Like, I'm not really sure I enjoy covering this. This is like really weird to me.
What has happened for, again, I think we're preaching to the choir here a little bit, is it's two things. It's one, if the system works for you, you celebrate it. Ole Miss is winning. Ole Miss is doing well. Ole Miss is better in this system than any previous system.
This system, at least temporarily,
gives them
has raised Ole Miss's floor significantly.
So, I mean, Ole Miss is
and maybe permanently. I don't know.
Ole Miss has a lot of fan base right now that is very frustrated, and yet they are a win over a backup quarterback at Duke from 3 10-win seasons in 4 years.
Sure.
That has happened one time in program history prior to if it happens this season. That was 1959 to 1962.
Yeah, a completely different era.
I looked it up on Sunday.
Right.
That is the only other time that it has happened, which brings me to the other point is for the people that, and I love you, I wish there were 12,000 of you, the people that obsess with recruiting rankings in the old days and, hey, can you get a top 20 class? Can you get that 2 4-stars? Ole Miss still wasn't competing at a national level outside of 13, 15, 16, whatever years you want to pick in the recruiting rankings, but yet everybody was all in, and can you just keep moving up the mountain? This is that on steroids. Every single year it's, hey, give me the players. And it could, because Ole Miss has not been hit yet by the other side of losing your studs.
Right.
Ole Miss retains like
right.
MFers. Maybe it changes, but as of today, Ole Miss hasn't lost the big guy. So you're only dealing with the positive portal where give me all the dudes. And all we're really discussing is, are they going to pan out? You're not the program that looks up and goes, oh my God, Austin Simmons has gone to Auburn. Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. When that happens, it starts bringing more balance into what you're talking about.
Right.
But we're speaking to several hundred people who are not doing that right now.
And when the answer to the programs that are struggling, when the answer to their fans is, well, if you guys would just give more money.
Yeah. Well, you're a check. Yeah.
To me, that sort of falls on deaf ears, honestly. I mean, I look at that and go, really?
Well, Quinn Sean's a good point. Sorry. But that was also a little bit of extenuating circumstance, though.
Yeah.
That wasn't straight apples to apples.
No, and that built for a long time. That was a long-term story.
Ole Miss could have paid to keep Quinn Sean. They could have.
Yeah.
They could have kept him on the roster if they wanted to.
Well, that's why he played in the Peach Bowl, because they did agree to a deal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only reason he played. He wasn't going to play. And frankly, if he were going to go into the portal, and he knew it back in December, he would have been advised not to play in the Peach Bowl, because if you get hurt, your portal value disappears. I can't remember what I was about to say. The whole thing's just, I find it in some ways kind of fascinating, and in some ways it's
some ways not fascinating at all.
It's a fascinating like psychology experiment here. Someone makes a great point in the thread. Can you imagine Patrick Mahomes visiting the Browns, going to their building and visiting them a couple weeks before the NFL playoffs begin? I mean, can you imagine? Hey, I'm going to go take a visit to Pittsburgh. You might play Pittsburgh in the title game. I don't care. Now's the window just opened. I need to go do my visit. I need to go talk to Coach Tomlin.
You know, WG Miz says, I watched the Pony Express 30 for 30 last night. They did enough to deserve a documentary. It doesn't compare all to this era. Actually, it was a great precursor because they literally had on pieces of paper a payroll, and they just paid the kids.
Yeah.
And they figured out a way to get them later and steal them and the whole deal.
Yeah.
Way ahead of their time.
Mm-hmm.
I got way down that rabbit hole back a decade and a half ago. Did a ton of research on that era. It fascinated me. They were. And it's why, look, I mean, SMU, this might not be a 1 year. I get that they're only in the recruiting rankings like 30 or something, but they could run that league.
Yeah.
I'm not prepared to say they're a one-hit wonder right now.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, sure, they have the resources.
Kids don't care about stadiums. It doesn't matter that Gerald R. Ford or F. Ford or whatever the hell his middle initial is.
Well, these kids that are coming, like the 2 kids that were referenced in the thing, they're not coming to take traditional visits.
Princewell Amon Mielen is coming to get better and go to the NFL under Pete Golding because it went well for his brother.
But what I'm saying is his visit that's coming up, they're not doing a cake and all that stuff for him. He's coming in. He's going to sit down with the coaches, look at some film.
Show me the plan, give me my money.
And then he's going to sit down with the Grove Collective people, and they're going to work out a deal.
Yes.
Luke Haas is not coming in to get a tour of the Grove and a tour of the camp. He's not.
It's an NFL meeting. It's here.
It's absolutely. It's come to the building,
meet with the coach.
Meet with the coach.
Now meet with the GM.
Yep, and get it done, and then either go to your next visit or shut it down. But in the NFL, they do. Yeah, they have the offseason. They also have contracts. You can't be on year 2 of a 4-year deal and go, you know what? I want to be a free agent. Well, it doesn't work like that. And if you are a free agent, you don't get to take the visits till March and April. They've never played an NFL game in March or April. That's a different portion of the season of the calendar. To me, it's where the college game. I think this is where they have it wrong. And I think if you moved the portal completely to the spring, I think
I like that.
One
window.
I think if you moved the whole thing completely to the spring, didn't mess with this time that you have bowl games and the postseason, and moved everything to the spring, at least you would, I think, calm it down a little. And I know the argument is, well, we need them here for the spring. Okay, but do you really? Are you telling me you couldn't get it all done in June? The pros do it.
Well, my point is that it feels more pro than con, just having one period in the spring.
Yeah. So, I mean, but I've not heard one national talking head or coach recommend that. Maybe it's a question for Lane, like, hey, what would you think if you moved the whole portal to April and May? Got it done. Guys showed up late May, early June. You had them all summer. You'd incorporate. And when he said, well, chemistry and culture, and well, pro teams do it. You guys are pro now. The kids aren't actually going to class. All the classes are online. They practice. They show up at the building at 7 a.m. They have meetings. You practice. You have lunch. They go take their classes online for a little while. Sometimes you have some meetings that night.
Treatment.
I mean, these guys aren't going to 15 hours. They're not going over to Hume or I forget the names of the buildings, but Bishop. They're not going to classes. Everything's online. What's the difference? Why couldn't you?
I think Jackson Dart had all online classes, and yet he's in the National Football Foundation Scholar Athlete thing tonight in Vegas at the Bellagio.
Good for him. I mean,
371 in business, Mr. Dart.
Yeah, I mean, he's a smart guy.
Yeah, I wasn't making fun. I was proving your point. It's all online classes.
But I mean, he's not hanging out.
No, that's what I mean. All online.
Yeah.
I'm going to raise your blood pressure a little after the break. I got something. I'm not going to raise your blood pressure.
But I mean, so here's the thing. Why can't you do that? Wouldn't that solve a lot of it? Wouldn't that solve a lot of it? Because you're going to have teams that are in these horrific bowl games with like 40 dudes.
Oh, there'll be a few teams that just have no one there.
I mean,
Florida going to take enough people to December 20th?
Be close. And that's a happy program.
The Gasparilla Bowl.
I mean, what's Oklahoma look like? What's Arkansas look like? What do those teams look like? And I get it. We work in the SEC deal, and everybody goes, ha ha, I'm glad they're going to hell in a handbasket. Yeah, but that could easily have happened to you. And what if it happens to you down the road? I mean, what then? But again, and I had this conversation with Jeffrey. He and I were talking about this. It was late October. I guess it was late October, early November. I went up to Fayetteville for the Kyo thing. Arkansas sucked. Everybody knew they sucked. Their game against LSU was packed.
Mm-hmm.
It was packed. Campus was packed. Stadium was packed. People still show. They still get the TV number. So I think the answer to people when I say, why not move it to something that makes more sense? They would say, because chaos sells. We don't think it's broken. I think that's their answer. I think they would look at me and go, even the programs that suck, even the programs that can't retain anybody, they're doing great. And now they're going to get all the money, and their programs now are going to have to pay rev share to players. Everybody wins. It's one of my takeaways from the playoff thing. And Alabama's AD said it. Now, the argument was weird because he said, hey, we got to reevaluate our non-con. And everybody goes, well, you did not make it because of the non-con. I'm like, you're missing the forest for the trees again.
He's just trying to soften the schedule.
What he's saying is, but what we took away from this, we shouldn't have lost to Vanderbilt. We shouldn't have lost to Oklahoma. But what we took away from this was there was no reason for us to go to Wisconsin.
And they have a ton of big games coming up in the non-con.
There's no reason for us to keep this series with Notre Dame going.
They've got like Michigan and SC and all these teams in the non-con.
So you know who loses in that deal?
Fans.
Yes. The people that you say at Alabama, hey, fork out this incredible amount of money for season tickets and traveling to Tuscaloosa and hotels and restaurants and all of these things.
But instead of Southern Cal, hey, we're going to play Chattanooga.
Yep.
I mean, Ole Miss. Ole Miss and SC canceled their series.
Oh, and by the way,
and both teams look really smart right now for doing so.
Yeah, there's no reason.
No, the hell with it.
No reason to play that game.
Mm-mm.
No reason for an SEC and a Big Ten team to go into a game going, well, one of us is going to get a loss.
Yeah.
No. SC's better off playing Furman, and Ole Miss is better off playing Mercer.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we'll just both get a dub here.
Mm-hmm.
But the fans pay, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. At Citizens Bank, you're not just an account number, you're a valued member of the community. And now if you find yourself in the market for a mortgage, another reason to give them a try. Whit Wilson, maybe you know in the mortgage space now at the Citizens Bank, ready to help you with your real estate goals. Stop by and visit 902 Sisk Avenue, Suite E to discuss your options with Whit. Are there any other experienced bankers who value your unique financial journey? Also, remember to check out the School Spirit debit cards. They donate an amount per every transaction to the local school of your choice, whether it's Oxford, Lafayette, or Regents. That's the Citizens Bank, PHILA.com.
We're brought to you by Argent Wealth, formerly Pinnacle Wealth. They're based in Ridgeland, Mississippi. They've got clients in more than 20 states. They provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much, much more. It's myargentwealth.com. John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated is the guy to go to if you're trying to create a special trip that makes a lifetime of unique memories. Just get in touch with him, give him some parameters and a budget. He's going to give you options that you're not going to find on your own. And no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387. Or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. Get the beautiful, healthy smile you deserve at Corinth Dental. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures that will result in a beautiful, long-lasting smile. From routine checkups to advanced treatment, including implants and Invisalign, Corinth Dental is here to help you achieve your smile goals. Schedule your appointment today. Take the first step toward a better version of yourself. It's corinthdental.com. If you are a corporate executive wanting to put your career in your own hands, if you're an experienced entrepreneur looking to diversify, either way, Andy Ludicky can help. He's a longtime Rivals board member, a diehard college football fan, franchise veteran. He owns multiple franchises and businesses and uses his expertise to help others find their American dream through a very thorough and free consultation process. So call Andy. Put your life and your career in your own hands. It's 100% free. You've got nothing to lose. Find your perfect franchise at myperfectfranchise.net. Or contact Andy at myperfectfranchise.net or call him at 404-973-9901. Located in the heart of Cajun country in Broussard, Louisiana, Parrish Brewing Company's simple goal is to make awesome craft brewed beer, and they've done just that. They've got the Dr. Juice is a highly crushable juice bomb. It's their new go-to IPA. It's dry hopped with a blend of their favorite hand-selected hops from the Washington Yakima Valley. Dr. Juice's drinkability, sneaky good, considering it clocks in at 6% ABV. The pour glows a rich cantaloupe hue with a thick frosted haze, soft mouthfeel. They've got that. Ghost in the Machine. Lots of other products at Parrish. Wherever you go, look for your beer. Look for Parrish. You will not be disappointed.
AnySpark, the fastest, most reliable fiber internet option available. Whether you're streaming the Rebels or connecting with family and friends, they offer both residential and business packages with speeds up to 2 gigabits. Remember, they're 100 megabytes now, 300 for the exact same price. To learn more, register for service. That's AnySpark.com. AnySpark. Get connected. Stay local. So, look, we're going to have to spend mileage on this over the next 8 months as much as I don't want to. The situation with the House settlement as everyone is banking on it going live in July, which will change everything we've talked about.
Literally banking.
Yes.
Literally banking. People are committing money right now that they
don't have,
that they believe they'll have on July the 1st. That's why I asked Lane, is there a world where this doesn't happen? He's like, well, maybe you know something I don't know. But Ole Miss is banking on it on July the 1st, knowing it won't have it before July the 1st. So they're having to structure deals, I'm guessing. I don't know this, but I'm guessing they're having to structure deals that the big payments don't come until July.
And here's one for you. I was talking to somebody yesterday who's very well versed in this. In most schools, we'll find contractual ways to mostly avoid this problem. Think about this. It's not even technically the same contract because your contract right now is with your collective. When July hits, your contract is with the university. So you actually are even having to either redo contracts or create restrictive stipulations that the contract moves over parties once July gets there. In theory, a player could, I think, have the ability to sign a certain amount in a contract right now and then completely renegotiate in August because it moves away to a different entity at that point.
Right.
And then that's not counting whatever is or isn't collective money on top of rev share. And I think what's going to happen, and I think Neal and I differ a little bit on what the average school is going to pay collective-wise on top of rev share. My guess is the average SEC school is somewhere in that $3 to $4 million range. I think it's more than
much more than that.
But that would be about a $20 million football payroll at $3 to $4 million.
Yeah.
On that.
I just think you can look at the league and you can look at how this is working. Now, I don't know what happens when people start actually hearing numbers. Because here's one of the things that's interesting. I'm not trying to interrupt you,
no, you're good.
But I'm curious on this. When they become university employees, basically, people can FOIA numbers. Now, maybe they'll hide it where I can't tell you.
But now Ole Miss has kind of allowed that precedent to no longer be set because they succumbed to the Clarion Ledger's foundation FOIA for Lane's contract here in the last few months.
So if I were to FOIA to find out how much Princewell Amon-Mielen is going to make, I think I could probably get it.
Yeah. My guess is yes.
My guess is I could find out precisely how his payment works. Yeah. Now, they're going to discourage you from doing that. But
because I think what you're about to see, and this is a guess, and it's where I'm going with here, and I guess I could go either way, chicken or egg, on explaining this. So the NCAA sent out a Q&A related to the House settlement a couple days ago. I've seen Dellinger kind of comment on this a little bit.
Okay.
And a lot of it is things we already know. They want roster limits to be at the new limits or the new rules starting with the 2025-26 academic year for fall sports. So that's fine. That means August. That's no big deal. Remember, football now going to be a 105 roster limit, but you, in theory, can give scholarships to all 105 if you want.
Right.
If you choose, you don't have to have walk-ons. You can have walk-ons, but you can only have 105 total, no matter how you want to pay them or not pay them. That's the way the rule works for football. Okay. Then you don't have to opt into rev share. I mean, obviously every SEC school does, but the way they're trying to get around this thing for smaller programs is simply you don't have to do it, but good freaking luck competing in any sport with anyone, but sure, whatever. Mm-hmm. Go create your own thing, but nonetheless, that's what the rules say. Then this part that I talked to Glenn Boyce about when I did the podcast with him, he agreed that it makes no sense. So we pulled out 2 or 3 different examples that would make no sense in real time from this past fall. Yet the NCAA is stuck on this principle to the point of get ready for immediate lawsuits, immediate fighting. This is your next thing that we're going to be saying is really dumb come August, okay? This is December the 10th. In August, this is going to be the thing that we were talking about being really, really dumb. I'm reading from the Q&A. And then I'll make my point about the collectives. Also, let's see. Let's see. Here we go. Also from the Q&A, quote, all NIL agreements with associated entities and associated individuals with payments occurring after July 1st, 2025. So if you get a paycheck from a collective starting with July 1st, which is when they think the House settlement is going into effect, will be subject to the fair market value assessment contemplated by the settlement. Also, all new agreements with associated entities and associated individuals executed after settlement approval, which could occur anytime after April 7th, will be subject to a fair market value review. In addition, there is a challenge to the determinations. If there is a challenge to the determinations related to fair market value, yes, all of them will be challenged. Third-party arbitrators approved by the plaintiffs, the defendant conferences, and the NCAA will render a decision. All NIL contracts subject to fair market value, which also means the NCAA, and they are trying to lump the defending institutions, is the way they phrase that, meaning if it's an SEC player, the SEC would be involved in this arbitration process. They want it to be contractual with what they believed NIL to be at the beginning, with the quid pro quo and the actual exchange of obligations and all that kind of stuff. It's complete bullshit. But what you're going to...
Hold on. I'm making sure I'm on the same page.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I was just putting something in the recruiting thread.
You're good.
So what you're saying is that their portion of the $20 million or whatever from rev share is salary.
That is not entitled to be fair market value in any way. You can use that however the hell you want to use it.
And anything on top of that is actual NIL
from the collective,
which has to be justified
fair market value
and potentially reviewed by an arbiter.
Not potentially, yes. The rules say it would be reviewed by an arbiter of the choosing between plaintiffs, defendant conferences, and NCAA choosing.
So what you're saying is, I'm trying to understand. I'm trying not to be a complete jerk.
Go ahead.
So what you're saying is,
okay.
So let's use a player. Hold on. Let's make up a player.
Let's do this example.
Johnny Johnson.
No. Let's use one that's real because I can make this happen.
Okay.
JJ Pegues, good dude. We all like JJ.
Yeah,
he does everything he's supposed to do. Okay.
Yeah.
So the way the school, I think, would try to get around this and fill in this is JJ Pegues, really popular, really whatever. We think his value locally is really high. Fair?
Yeah.
We're going to use him for NIL money because if we're just being real honest here in our big circle, we know he's going to show up to things. So we can make sure he quid pro quos and does some stuff that makes it look like he is getting fair market value.
Okay.
Versus the players on your team that ain't coming to shit.
Which is the other 90%.
They're going to get the rev share money because they have no obligations. What you're going to see is who the schools comprehend that they think will play ball. They are going to try to pay them out of the collective, in my opinion. But again, everyone's getting sued here because no one's going to agree on the arbiter to actually come up with, because again,
can I play devil's advocate on this for just a minute?
Go ahead.
And JJ's probably, it's a great example for the point you're making.
Yeah.
For the point I'm making, he's not the greatest example.
He's a unicorn.
But there aren't many JJs, right?
You have JJ and Jamin Brakefield and those kind of guys that are a different.
But why would JJ agree to that, right? Why would he go, okay, well, no, wait a minute. Why am I only getting $10,000 out of the rev share?
I'm not arguing.
When anybody else in the league who does what I do is making $275 or whatever,
and doesn't have to do the dog and pony show for the other $265.
Yeah,
that they would be getting out of the NIL.
Literal hours away from. Because there aren't a lot of guys that people call, oh, that's the mayor, right? I mean, there's probably not a kid at Michigan State who's the mayor. So we're talking about unicorns.
Yeah, I'm using a very small example.
Yeah. So I guess so I'll go back to my generic guy, right? So the guy at Auburn, we'll call him Johnny Johnson. He's a tight end at Auburn.
Sure.
And so his portion of rev share is $250, and they're like, okay, well, that's not going to be enough to keep Johnny. He caught 47 balls last year. We're going to have to pay him more than that. So we've got our War Eagle Tigers Unlimited collective here, whatever it's called. I'm not making fun. I don't know.
The body getter group.
Sure. Okay, let's give him another $1 million. It's going to take $1 million more to keep Johnny because, hey, Alabama's trying to buy him and Georgia's trying to buy him, and we can't do that. Mm-hmm. So let's give him another $1 million. All right, well, what's he doing for the $1 million? He's not doing shit for the $1 million. He's just getting $1 million. We're going to call it NIL, but he's not doing anything. Johnny's not exactly community friendly. He's just a hell of a football player. I think we can get him to go to the Boys and Girls Club one Sunday for 20 minutes, and let's call that $1 million. Are you telling me an arbiter is going to look at that and go, no, in no world is that worth $1 million?
Well, and all the kids are going to get, all the kids are going to get their value. It's just a matter of where it's coming from based off what they believe the obligations would be. But you're right. JJ could pitch, or Johnny or whatever the hell, could look at it and go, okay, I'm getting my money, but why do I have to go to these 12 events and Princely doesn't, or Jackson doesn't, or whatever the hell it is that you're talking about?
There's a roster full of guys that, quote, got NIL last year that didn't do anything in terms of NIL, unless you're willing to do the thing where, well, they were on the season. Okay. I mean, fine. I mean, I'm not criticizing it. It's just
the Mississippi legislature, prior to the House settlement, had shifted the language that allowed you to essentially have the availability to your marketing rights versus using your marketing rights.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lockstep that happened there. Well, it was the example. It's the best example for the blow up scenario, because you would need a constant arbitration settlement. The guy who's in the courts right now, Diego Pavia. Glenn Boyce and I had this conversation on the podcast. Diego Pavia's fair market value in August, completely different than his fair market value following the Alabama game. What he is worth to Vanderbilt or worth to himself or whatever you want to talk about.
Yes.
So are we switching it in real freaking time? Like, can you just get back in front of an arbiter 2 weeks later and go, hey, I want to pay him $800,000, and by God, he's justified now? Like, this makes no sense, because that's got to be immediate. It's not fair to Diego Pavia to have to turn down contracts in a week because the arbiter couldn't see him for 2 weeks.
No.
He had to strike while the iron's hot. And while we all know...
so why should that be limited, right? So,
exactly.
So Diego Pavia beats Alabama, and he has that viral moment on TV, and multiple companies in Nashville go, sign me up. And that literally happened. Well, a pro athlete could do that. I mean, there's nothing stopping Patrick Mahomes from doing a deal today with AT&T. He doesn't have to wait for the season to end, right? There's nothing stopping Carson Palmer or Joe Burrow from – Joe Burrow's a better example. There's nothing stopping Joe Burrow from doing some big thing with the Wendy's today, where he doesn't have to wait for the end of the season. It's not ruled by an arbiter. What are we doing? I just don't know that I understand it all. It's kind of like the committee, right? In the 12-game playoff, where it's like, okay, well, here's this random number. Let's just go with it. And now let's fight for it. Let's defend it vociferously, even though it's easy to kind of attack it.
Sounds awesome around a conference table. But when you start putting it with real world examples, you go,
yeah. So, I mean, that's why when people go, oh, it's going to be a limited amount of. Whenever you lose, they're going to go. These SEC schools, I think it's going to end up being $10, $11, $12 million a year in NIL, because there's just such.
But where's the money coming from?
Fans.
To that much more of a clip? Because look,
and that's where I think you're.
Because rev share doesn't mean the school's paying this. It means the donations that were going into the collectives are getting redirected back into the foundations, and the same money is still paying.
And this is where I think you get dangerous, right? Because, like, it's the conversation that Kiffin and I had last week. I mean, what makes the NFL great is destructive in the SEC.
Yeah,
parity.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what makes the NFL great. Your team can be really bad, and in 2 years later can be a Super Bowl contender. Well, in college sports, if we do this thing where, hey, Alabama and Georgia and Florida and Ole Miss and LSU have $34 million payrolls, and Mississippi State and Arkansas and Kentucky and Auburn, I'm just making schools up, just everybody chill, has just the base contract, those stadiums are going to, I think, maybe I'm wrong, those stadiums are going to start to get empty. People are going to start going, this is dumb. I mean, I'm not going to cheer for something that's hopeless, right? That's the reason that PNC Park every August is so empty. Once the hope's gone, it's empty. And that hasn't happened yet in college football, but I had someone tell me yesterday where I said, sometimes I feel like I'm just completely out of touch. And I told them why. And they said, it's possible that you're just ahead of it, that it just hadn't happened yet. Hadn't had 2 or 3 years where it becomes obvious to these people that, hey, we're never going to get there. Because once that happens, you're out.
It's like Major League Baseball having all the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Mets and whatever, but you also have no ability for the Twins to build.
Yeah.
At the same time. But they still have to play the schedule.
And it would be like if you had the current Major League Baseball world where there was no world ever where the Pirates got Paul Skeens.
Yeah. There's no draft.
Because the Pirates got Paul Skeens, and he's got 5 more years in a Pirates uniform.
And he's going to win some games. Yeah.
And there's always the hope that maybe in the next 5 years, ownership will figure out a way to give him $1 gazillion.
Yeah.
But you're going to have him for 5 more years. Mm-hmm. He can't leave for the Yankees next year.
No, he's going to put the black and gold on.
And so if you take that away, and in college football, you don't have that. College basketball, you don't have that. There's no way to draft Cooper Flagg.
Yeah.
He gets to pick where he goes. I look at it and go, I don't see how that works. I mean, that's me. I look at it and go, I don't see how that works.
What's the old world? Kids pick where they wanted to go, and you aren't really competing for a title if you're at most of the schools anyway.
Right.
But yet now you're funding it, which is a different level.
It's different.
But it's the same principle.
It is. But guys could transfer in the old world. In the old world, when you transferred, you had to sit a year. So when you transferred, you really had to think about it. So when a guy transferred, there was a reason.
You at least had your dudes.
There was a reason that, yeah. And now you don't really have your guys. Like if you're Arizona State right now, you should be flying high right now if you're a Sun Devils fan. And you're about to be reading stories about, you're losing this guy to Oklahoma, and this guy's going to Texas, and this guy's going to go to Florida. They're cashing in. And Kenny Dillingham is on record, and he's not wrong, going, if literally this is what he's doing to his fans today. And you could almost see in his eyes like the death coming through his soul. Well, we're going to have to come up with more money. If you want these guys to stay, we've got to pay them more.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's Christmas time, and little Johnny wants a train set, but hey.
If you want a tight end.
My linebacker needs an extra $100K.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I agree.
That's kind of.
I get it.
It's kind of like, back when Carson was little and I took him to the Cubs convention. He got to meet the players and get in line and get an autograph and stuff like that. At no point did they go, hey, listen, guys, we'd love to go get Bryce Harper, but here's the deal. We're going to pass this plate. And
got to fill that bad boy up.
Need another about $100 million. So dig deep, boys and girls. I know it's a party here, but hey.
Got some business.
We got some business. No, they didn't do that because I think if they'd done that, people would have been like, well, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm already paying for a hotel. I mean, it's not a great example, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, I just look at it and think, this is wild.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy. And I'm glad the kids are getting paid, but
balance.
The whole
you always need balance.
The whole this is pro sports thing is false. This is not pro sports. Pro
sports have balance. This
is bizarre.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I still think this is unsustainable, but I'm more and more I think, well, the only reason I'm saying that is because I've been saying it. I don't know that I even think that anymore. I think maybe it's super sustainable. I just can't relate to it. And so I look at it and go, I don't understand. And people, I think people think I'm being negative when I say that, and I'm not. I'm not being negative at all. I don't understand it.
I will be amazed to see what is going on with this arbitration thing as we move forward. I think it's flawed from the very beginning. But anyway, all right. The men's clinic, Madison and Brandon. If you're experiencing low energy levels, no motivation, decreasing muscularity, and plenty of other ailments, they can help you manage the aging process. They optimize testosterone, improve insulin resistance, reduce inflammation, and much more. That's themanthing.com, because their mission is to make sure that patients remain as healthy and as strong as possible throughout the aging process by the ways that I explained a minute ago. In Madison, that's 601-607-7869, or Brandon 769-241-9012. Again, themanthing.com for an appointment.
Elevate your game day look with socks that financially support the Rebels. Every step you take shapes the future of Ole Miss athletics. Visit deadsoxy.com. Choose a subscription to receive the latest in Ole Miss styles every month or at an interval that best suits you. With the subscription, you'll receive 25% off member pricing, free shipping, and a free pair of Juice Kiffin socks with your first order. Just go to deadsoxy.com and check them out. We are also brought to you by Art Hayes, Sotheby's International Realty. Are you thinking of making a move? Put the power of Sotheby's International to work for you. As a licensed agent with Sotheby's and a supporter of all things Ole Miss, Art can help you buy or sell in your hometown or anywhere in the world. No charge to you. Seriously, so call and ask Art how. 612-805-5929 or email Art at arthur.hayes@lakesmn.com. We're also brought to you by Kaiser Flooring, locations in Oxford and Batesville. Kaiser Flooring provides outstanding quality flooring products and installation services to residential and commercial properties. Kaiser carries the best in hardwood, laminate, vinyl, and tile flooring, as well as carpeting. Their goal is to offer amazing and durable flooring products and superior services to make your life easier. It installs your flooring quickly, delivers the best flooring experience possible. Get in touch with them at kaiserflooring.com or give them a call in Oxford or Batesville. And we're brought to you by Meadowbrook Wealth Advisors of Raymond James. It's a full-service investment team based in Jackson, providing financial planning and investment management to clients across the state and surrounding areas. Ryan Geary and his partners are a local team that utilize the strength and resources of a national firm to bring their clients an impeccable level of service. So get in touch with them at ryan.geary@raymondjames.com or 601-368-2215. Raymond James and Associates Incorporated, member New York Stock Exchange, SIPC.
Podcast is brought to you by G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area and they offer medicine for your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. One trip to the pharmacy, one delivery, everything you need when you need it with G&M. Also, that's one phone call to transfer those medications. So whether it's in Holly Springs with Tyson Drugs or G&M in Oxford, 662-236-2222. Let's see, where was it? I mean, the bowl games start December 14th. I mean, we're already getting going. 4 days away from bowl season, happiest time of the year.
So exciting. There's some dog games now with the opt-outs and stuff.
Where are you at on the 0-10 watchability for South Alabama and Western Michigan coming up on the that's in the Crampton Bowl, by the way.
Is Lopez going to play?
I don't know.
Because, he's contemplating opting out. Not opting out. I should say he's contemplating going to the portal. I don't know, 1 to 10, it's a 1, maybe a 2.
8 p.m. Central on ESPN. On the 14th.
It's a 1. Not going to happen.
You need to be awake at 11:40 to catch the end of that bad boy.
Nah, I'm good.
I don't even think I could tell you 10 bowl sponsors anymore. I'm looking at some of these.
I know I can't.
Like the Frisco Bowl, Scooter's Coffee is the can't be that expensive to get a bowl game then, right? Because
I'm guessing not. I don't know a whole lot about the coffee market.
Okay. The LA Bowl keeps changing its name every year because that was the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl at one point. That was a something else bowl. It's the Art of Sport LA Bowl.
Oh. Doesn't Snoop have a game this year?
Does he?
I don't know.
Cal UNLV in the Art of Sport LA Bowl.
It's a 0 on the watchability.
0?
If 1 to 10, it's a 1. You watching that? Cal, UCLA?
UNLV.
The same difference.
UNLV is actually more interesting to me than UCLA.
Their coach just left.
Oh, that's true. For a job, then good luck, Barry.
But they'll have rev share.
They will.
UNLV will not have rev share.
They will not.
He can get better players at Purdue than he can get at UNLV now.
Ole Miss's 2024 opponent, the Georgia Southern team, they're playing Sam Houston in the New Orleans Bowl.
Plenty of seats available.
Is that in the Dome? Yeah, it is.
They might pay you to come in.
Ohio, Jacksonville State. They're in Orlando, the Camping World Stadium, the Cure Bowl.
That won't be a bad game if Rich Rod's still there.
Okay. And then, Tulane, Florida on December the 20th. 2:30 in the afternoon on the 20th. The Gasparilla Bowl.
Saw where John's keeping his powder dry for one more year, which is probably smart. There's going to be multiple SEC openings in a year.
It was
multiple.
As long as you think you're okay.
Can't crater at Tulane next year.
I've seen that happen in a bunch of small schools where you wait the 1 year.
In this market, if you can't pay your players and everybody else can, Tulane is not going to have $20 million in rev share.
He's probably okay because no one in that conference is going to separate from you. So they're in a crap conference, so you can.
But they go to Oxford, they come here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, doesn't need to lose that game by 6 touchdowns.
And it was a weird ending of the year. No showed against Memphis, and then
The Army thing was predictable.
did not want to be there against Army.
Against the team that did want to be there, and it was cold coming off that water.
It was.
I've been through West Point on a train. I just know there's a lot of water there. Like, I think there's some big reservoir or something.
Okay. It looked cold.
I think, I think it's a different cold.
The popping you, bone chilling.
You
cold.
start getting hit a few times, and you don't want to be there.
Yeah, they're running the freaking option. You're like, oh my god,
Well, and that quarterback for Army's a physical cat now.
I mean, even the SEC games, because we don't know who's on. I'm skipping a bunch of this crap. Birmingham, by the way, they don't play at Legion anymore. They play at Protective Stadium.
Yeah.
So there is at least that.
Well, that's a big at least, because that's a nice stadium in a nicer area.
Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt, that game.
I mean, okay, I'll watch it. But Haynes King's not playing now, right?
They're saying here that they think maybe Tech's just overpaying him because he was threatening portal more than he's leaving. Maybe he's just getting a big payday from Tech.
Because, I mean, Haynes King versus Diego Pavia.
I'm in.
Sure.
Yeah.
I might watch that.
Okay. Yeah, I think so too. I'm there at that point. Oh, is that true? Cal just hired Harsin?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, the board's
good for Brian.
Okay. The 27th is your first day of some.
Got to kill for a Cal Auburn game now.
Is that contract over? Can we re-up that?
I think it's up, but that sucks because I'd love to watch Hugh have to lose to Brian Harsin.
I mean, Harsin is not forgotten. He's very very engaged still in the Tigers' problems. The 27th.
Two sides to every divorce.
Yes. 3. Yours, mine, and the truth.
Yeah.
There's the 27th. If anybody's playing in these games, the first day where you can sort of really get kind of football, sort of.
Okay.
It's Syracuse, Washington State. Okay. Again, I'm just talking about games.
Sure.
Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma, Navy.
Sure.
Texas Tech, Arkansas.
I mean, no.
And A&M, USC.
I mean, I think Arkansas right now has 1 scholarship wide receiver.
Oh, yeah, I took a picture of this morning because I saw it on day 1 of the portal. Plenty more to come.
Mm-hmm.
Probably haven't had the biggest day yet, frankly. On day 1 of the portal, Arkansas had 21 players get in.
Wow.
So
that's a lot.
Basically
a quarter of your roster.
Mm-hmm. State 19, Kentucky 19, A&M 13, Oklahoma 12, LSU 12, Auburn 11, Vandy 10, Carolina 8, Alabama 8, Ole Miss 6, Texas 5, Missouri 5, Florida 4, Tennessee 3, Georgia 2. 20 on day 1.
Yeah, the top of that list is the jobs that
there's a reason
will be available at the end of the year.
Yes. That's rough.
Those are programs that are going. People are asking, like, what are they doing? I think what they're doing is they're waiting to see, hey, you know what? We're not going to close the gap this year. Let's wait and see what this looks like when rev share kicks in and then figure out how do we go from there. That's what that is. Well, that's literally, you're seeing SEC programs, multiple SEC programs, punt.
Oh, you can make fun of State, and I get making fun of it, but I think it's the only way they even maybe can do anything, which is they are just giving up on NIL right now and going, will you please donate? We're just going to go put it in rev share and wait.
Yeah.
Not going to blow all of it right now.
It's actually smart.
Yeah. It's your only shot.
I mean, you know, you pay Jeff Lebby, and when Jeff Lebby goes, what are we doing? Well, you're getting paid to lose, champ.
Mm-hmm. You're going to lose again.
Oh, they're going to go. I mean,
they could go 0-8 again.
I mean, if you told me to set the over-under on number of SEC wins for Mississippi State, I would set the over-under at 1/2.
I was thinking 1/2 or 1, yeah.
You know, so if you make it 1.5, I bet under immediately.
Do you?
Yeah. I mean, the only, like, and I do the same thing with Arkansas. If you said, what's their over-under, I'd probably put it at 1.5. I mean, they get State. So one of them is going to win a game, and then after that, I mean, there's no gimmies on there like for either team. And so if you're in Starkville or in Fayetteville and you're looking at this going, well, the system is probably changing on July 1st. Let's have a year where we keep our powder dry. When everybody else pays 25, 26, let's pay 7. put that money basically in an escrow for a year, and then when the numbers come, when they figure out, okay, here's where we are, then you go, okay, well, let's fire the coach, let's hire a coach, let's get some excitement, now we'll have the money, and then maybe you can close the gap quickly. I'm assuming that is the strategy, and if that's the strategy, as much as it sucks for the fans, and it sucks for the fans,
It's probably your only shot.
it's probably smart.
The Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl.
How about that?
Which used to be the Barstool Arizona Bowl. So they're rotating a lot of Miami of Ohio versus Colorado State.
Maybe Diddy will come out and do the pregame coin toss.
Maybe. Get all the band back together.
Miami of Ohio versus who?
Colorado State.
Oh, yeah, I'll pass.
Austin, thanks for Super Chat. Appreciate you in the stream every day. Serious question. No hate to Southern Miss, but how bad of a look is it for Marshall Athletics that your coach of your football team wins the SBC, leaves for USM in the league, and the whole team leaves?
I mean, it's. I don't even know that it's a quote bad look. I think it just shows you that Marshall can't compete in this.
Well, and Southern can't. So if they took your coach,
right? You know, I mean, but I'm assuming that Southern. He feels like Southern can do a lot more than Marshall can do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what anything in terms of what's the look. I don't know what the look is. If you're
the world is giving you your pecking order right now.
I mean, here's the deal. If you're a Marshall fan, and there are people who are Marshall fans. If you're a Marshall fan, I mean, you look at this and you go, "This is stupid." It's a proud program. Came back from a tragedy
2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, and now you're saying we can't compete.
Mm-hmm.
We just can't be competitive in the Sun Belt.
Good point, Grind. That did not click, even though I think I did that. It says Snoop Dogg is Dre, not Diddy. Diddy's East Coast, not West Coast. Yeah, I apologize.
That's a good point.
That's a good point.
Good point.
I think I did know that, actually. I just was not thinking at the top of my mind.
All right. I mean, like someone says, it's a joke. Steve Robertson better write another damn book. This actually would be a really fascinating book.
He probably will. Right?
It won't sell to his fan base. But if someone were to take a program like Mississippi State that has a proud tradition. I mean, State's done some good things. When they had Dak Prescott, they played in a Access Bowl. They did.
They played Georgia Tech in the Orange Bowl.
Here's where they are today, and here's how they got there, and this is what it's like inside if he were to get that type of access, that would actually be fascinating.
And one of the top 3 things that happened to them was him getting Hugh fired when he did.
Yeah.
He's one of the 3 reasons.
That they are where they are today?
Lane's not the coach.
Yeah, no. I mean, and
if Steve doesn't get Hugh fired right then,
and I mean,
Lane's not the coach.
Like, where's Ole Miss today? If it's still totally Matt Luke, or if it's
Dave Doran,
or if it's some other cat, I don't know. I don't know where Ole Miss would be in this world where they didn't have, or where is Ole Miss if Lane Kiffin doesn't change his mind in 2022?
Yeah, I know.
Because he was leaving to go to Auburn. I'll fight anybody who wants to fight about it. I'm right. You're wrong. He was going. He's basically admitted it. Cole Kubelik and all those people on that broadcast that day, you can question whether it was professional for them to say what they said. That's fine. Here's what you really can't question. There was a reason they were saying it. There was a reason they were having that conversation. In a world where he's the head coach at Auburn today, trying to figure out how to compete there in that landscape, I don't know who the Ole Miss coach is.
Because it was a terrible year to hire a coach.
Yeah.
They had done some pre-work, and it was rough.
It was rough. I literally don't know who it would be. If you said, hey, who would the coach be in that world? I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know if I asked Keith Carter that he could truly answer it.
No, I don't either.
So, I mean, these things are really tenuous. Like, so that's why I'm like, yeah, I get why everybody laughs.
I think I know who it would have been, and you all would have been in really bad shape right now.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, you're good.
All right. There's just kind of a lot there.
Lane Kiffin is talking in about 25 minutes. We'll have whatever from that at rebelgrove.com today. He and Manny Diaz doing the Gator Bowl joint Zoom PC thingy. So rebelgrove.com. Luke's got a lot of stuff up, recruiting, portal-wise. Stay locked in there. We'll be back tomorrow, another edition of the show, and more stuff on MPW Digital. So take care. Have a good day, and we'll talk tomorrow.